everybody, we're looking at number 8. It takes 144 cubes that have edge lengths of a half a foot to completely fill this cardboard box. What is the area of the base of the box? So if we need to find this and we have the height, we're going to need to find the volume too, because we're going to use this number in just a second. But this is the formula that we're going to use ultimately to find the answer. But we need to do some calculations to get the volume, and we're going to want it in just regular old cubic feet instead of, what we might call these half cubes. And then we're going to use this ratio to help us figure out what that number is. All right, so this is the height, which, by the way, I'm going to use the improper fraction equivalent of that, which is 9/2. So we'll be using that in the formula. But let's review our conversations that we've had in class about, for every full cube, how many half cubes are there if we complete this ratio? And this image might help you to figure that out, because these two things are equal. If that line that I just drew is a half an inch, wouldn't I need 2 of those going across to make the full inch? So if it's 2 going this way, and it's 2 going this way, and it's 2 going that way, then don't I have 8 of the half cubes for every full cube? Now, if we go back here and we look and we ask ourselves, what do we have here? Are we talking about full cubes? In other words, these? Or are we talking about, one of these, which we would call a half cube? And they're talking about half cubes, right? They're telling you have 144 of these. So I'm going to put that in our ratio right here. And we're going to solve for how many full cubes we have, which is what we're going to substitute in for the V in this formula. All right, so if we press on with solving for this, we have a couple ways we can do it, but just using regular cross products will work. 1 times 144 is 144. And if we do 8 times F, that's going to look like this. And if we finish this and solve for F, remember we're going to be dividing both sides of the equation by 8. And then we get our answer. So again, this means 144 divided by 8. If we take out our calculators and do 144 and divide that by 8, we're talking about 18 of the full cubes. And when I say full cubes, I mean 18 cubic units. So again, if we have 144 of these, and we're trying to figure out how many of these do we have, then we're basically doing 144 divided by 8. Now, many of you probably wouldn't even need to go through the process of this proportion to figure that out, because you might realize that we would have to divide. But at any rate, we're going to take this number and put it in our formula. So we have 18 cubic feet. So I should probably mention, let's put the unit here so we know. That's cubic feet. In other words, 18 of these, this is 1 cubic foot, and this whole thing is 1 cubic foot, but we had we had the 1/2 cube. All right, so if we substitute the other values in, we're trying to get the base, right? They want to know the area of the base. So let's bring that big B down, and we're going to substitute in for the height this value, which is the improper fraction equivalent, 9/2. Now, if you like to use 4.5 as your equivalent instead, that's perfectly fine too. But the reason why I like this version is because it's going to be compatible with 18, and you'll probably see why in just a second, why I prefer this. All right, so whenever we're solving equations where you have a fraction in it, remember the opposite of multiplying a variable by 9/2 is dividing by 9/2, and that's the same thing as multiplying by the reciprocal. So when you have fractions, you're really just multiplying both sides of the equation by the reciprocal of the coefficient. All right, now you're supposed to be on autopilot when it comes to multiplying something by its reciprocal. You're always going to get 1, but if you have to go through the process of simplifying it to discover that on your own, then you can certainly do that. So you can see here that, if we divide by 2 on both ends there, we get the 1, and this all equals 1. And anytime you multiply 1 times something, you get the same thing, which in this case is going to be big B. All right, now to find the, what this is here, the shaded region, which is the base, we have to just finish this computation. Now, 9 happens to be a factor of both this and this, and some people like to put a 1 underneath that, but let's go ahead and divide by 9 and get 1, divide by 9 and get 2. So the only thing left you have to do to finish this up is to just finish this computation, which is basically just doing 2 times 2, because if you divide it by 1, you're going to get the same thing. And that will be the answer choice that you're going to pick. All right, good luck finishing this up.